Live from Bountiful, Utah, it's Nite Time Express with your host Curtis Whittier. Tonight we've got a fantastic show. I was able to land two very important interviews. Two probably of the greatest artists of the 20th century. You've got probably the greatest visual artist of the 20th century, Andy Warhol, as well the greatest sound artist of the 20th century, Bob Dylan. Two incredible people. What I found was two undescribable geniuses that, well, I think the interview speaks for itself, personally, so we'll just go into that now. Thank you. So folks, if I could just go straight into the interview, is that okay?
It's fine with me, sure is.
Andy, for starters, you have been called by many people one of the greatest artists of the 20th century. Some people say the greatest artist of the 20th century. And your iconic painting, The Can of Soup, the Campbell's, that series, what can we discuss some of the inspirations behind that and why you decided to completely change the face of the art world by doing this?
Well, I really feel that beauty in the world is not appreciated in the way it should be, and I saw beauty where few would look, take a second glance, and felt that it needed to be really shown to the world. And I think that I've done that. I think I've really struck a chord with many people today, and it's obvious with the respect that I've been given for my art that I truly am talented.
Thank you. Bob, I'd just like to comment briefly and say that I'm a big fan of one of your songs in particular. The lyrics, "The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind." I just think those are some great lyrics. Now back to Andy. If I could just ask you what some of the inspiration behind another piece of art you did shortly after, the Marilyn Monroe series. Basically, Marilyn Monroe is an American icon, let's face it.
Aren't you?
As you are.
Excuse me, Bob. We're in the middle of something here, Bob. I told you could join me.
I thought this was a live show.
Okay, I'm...
Cool, Bob.
Marilyn Monroe is definitely one of the iconic figures of the 20th century, and what's odd is that through creating portraits of her, through that process, you became one of the icons of the 20th century. Do you think that there's
Can I say about Marilyn, I feel that she is soulless beauty, she is empty, and really that's what I was trying to portray through my art. Just pure physical beauty, just surface, and nothing existed behind that. It was really colorful and pretty to look at, but there was no meaning behind it.
Yeah.
And many critics have really hailed me as a genius, which of course I am.
Just like a woman.
As I was saying, I really feel that my art captures the beauty that is all around us, and really that's all that art is, that's all the world is, it's all that's important to me. I've often been quoted as saying that I'm drawn to beauties and talkers, and really just the extreme is what attracts me, and it's what I find that I put into my art, and that's why it's so well appreciated.
I'd like to comment on some of your work in film. One of the great masterpieces of your early work is called Sleep.
Well, I designed Sleep with the fact in mind that when you're sleeping, it's sort of a timeless environment. Minutes and hours become meaningless, and sleep is really just putting that into the vision of time, and no one really looks at sleep like that. It's really gaining a better understanding of people when you can just look at someone like that for 6 hours straight. And I know this isn't going to be a widely accepted film, but I really think it's beautiful, and I truly am a genius.
We're back in our story, the 20th century art icons. Bob, you've got a new album coming out here in the next month or so. What's it called again?
It's called the Modern.
Andy, now I know that one of your pieces, you did much work in film. If I could ask what drew you into film, and we just watched your film Sleep, which I found stunning.
It was a stunning piece, really. I can't say I was inspired, because the inspiration came from no one but myself, but I am a genius, an artistic master. I've really stripped it down to the bare bones of where film needs to be to really communicate.
The film Sleep was the first in a great series of masterpieces, masterworks, which you unleashed upon, at that point, almost an unwilling public that wasn't,
I don't think they were ready.
They screamed out. I remember one of the great works. Bob, if you could, we're trying to do it.
Excuse me, Bob.
One of the great works, one of my favorite
Yourself, please.
pieces, was a piece called Haircut. Folks, if you could just imagine a film, just of someone receiving a haircut, the power that.
If you just imagine, I am the actor, he is another actor that I've chosen, and for 30 minutes I'm cutting his hair. We're speaking.
The emotion, the
we're
power.
speaking, but it's inaudible. I like to think of it as a submissive relationship. He is submitting to me as the powerful figure in the relationship, and it really speaks on an emotional level that you'd have to be intelligent to understand.
In retrospect, this sounds totally ridiculous, but early critics called his films boring and stupid.
I find it ridiculous. They weren't ready. They didn't understand what was being said by my films, and I think it just says something about the simplicity of the filter that film critics were using to view my works through, and really they weren't ready for it, and it's coming back on them now as critics nowadays have watched my films and really gained an understanding of the meaning, and it really says something about early film critics.
I think genius is sort of a way to sum up Andy's body of work.
Don't touch me, please. I don't like being touched.
We've had 2 incredible interviews, and the insights that we found from these 2 men are incredible. I mean, specifically Andy, going into his paintings and his films. And Bob, thanks for...
Sorry, if I've been a little out of it. I've been on a quarter of a diet pill, so...
Alright.
I mean, I don't know if...
Andy, thanks again. See you, Bob.
Yeah.